They just posted a new era of Warcraft storytelling.
They didn't.
However, because I've went through the transcript and used the demon box to find out what's inside it.
Is this some sort of... I get the vibe that there's some sort of secrets going on here, some sort of conspiracy you want to tell us about?
Nah, it's not. It's just a YouTube thumbnail.
Damn.
Yeah.
Clickbaited by Blizzard. How the tables turn. How the turntables.
I can't believe that Morgan and Bethany have done this to us. Terrible. In the video, I get the sense, probably more of like overall video for general audiences. They've actually published a few of those recently. I'd say pretty good. I guess it's the Wowcast format, right? Basically, they've talked about sort of similar plot things to what we've heard recently, in just this sort of whole War Within cycle. The TLDR is they want to build up their villains more. They want to have a better paced story. Taryn was talking about things, how the plot could sometimes be very stop-start. Stuff we've, broadly speaking, heard before. What I think is notable, though, right, is this is a marketing beat. That actually kind of matters. Now, I don't know if they'll be doing like any sort of paid spend on that, but the point is, the message that they're putting out there is that it's a new era, sort of drawing a line, which is inherently drawing a line under the old era. So, I think they broadly know. They broadly know what's going on.
They can't not.
Yeah.
They can't not.
Yeah, because they probably had a discussion where they thought about doing something cool with N'Zoth, and then they realized, where did we leave that one off? That's not...
Blew him up, whoops.
So, hey, if it's a new era, I would like that. They do talk about more slowly building up their villains, how they're weaving things about.
Very good. Very good.
Weaving things about. No, what's good is the Arathi. I mean, it's not the most subtle. But that being said, looking at how they dress themselves, I don't really think it was ever going to be that subtle. They definitely look very suspicious and dangerous. I think them being set up as a potential villain is quite good. So, and more natural. More natural as well.
Yeah,
they could have just been some random bit player in the expansion, and maybe they sort of will just be that. But it makes the world seem a little bit bigger when there's other groups, power blocks, things that are doing stuff. We initially thought this was some like little cloister that ended up in Khazalgar and just lived there for a long ass time. No, they're just a little expedition from some other continent. And I know that there's like going to be a little bit of rewiring the lore brain. Sort of the whole other side of Azeroth discussion has went on for so long, but always been hypothetical. It's now no longer hypothetical. But I think there's always going to be a little bit of spookiness, lack of comfort. It's hard to trust. I suppose that's always going to be there. But that feels like a expansion. But an expansion to the Warcraft lore. Whereas when I think about Shadowlands was... And this sounds bizarre saying that there's a difference between an expansion and an addition. That makes no sense. But when you think about the Shadowlands, it was just, that's what they're like over in Europe. That's the Europeans and their big Euro castles. Fantastic. There you go. And look... fairies and Irish things. Rory the tree. There.
Yeah, here's the Irish things and also a whole load of Welsh names because they're interchangeable.
Yeah, and then they're like, we like metal. Good, we'll do one of those. Shadowlands just felt very much like, the South Park episode. Is it the South Park episode that's about Family Guy episodes? Where the whole point is there's a manatee, right? There's a manatee in a big tank, and what the joke will be about in the Family Guy episode will purely be based on what balls does the manatee, grab or whatever. So it just felt like they were like, we're going to do the afterlife, and we'll just grab some random shit and make it work. Whereas, say what they're doing with the Arathi, that's more of an expansion in a way that doesn't seem as parasitic. Because this was a bunch of just in Shadowlands, a bunch of random shit that was just sort of bonked onto the game, and then we had a bunch of lore justifications that nobody really bought to make it all make sense. Whereas this is just extrapolating things that we already know, but not in a way that invalidates stuff that we've done or that's happened. So I guess that's why I'm becoming a little bit more interested, excited. You look confused and unconvinced.
It's not that I'm unconvinced, it's that I'm trying to piece together exactly what the difference is in execution. Because there's nothing stopping all of... instead of going to Shadowlands, let's talk about the Drust.
Oh no! No, not that big missed opportunity.
Yeah, the Drust could have been very much that for the expansion. They could have been the Arathi kind of vibe of, oh, here's this new threat, this new thing that they developed on. I think, obviously, the problem with Shadowlands was that it was in the box, the Shadowlands box. And I think that's what happened in BFA, to a degree as well, where they started putting things in that were the box, and just here's the expansion box with stuff in it. We have to put new stuff in the box, and then we don't need to play with those toys again if we don't want to. Whereas this feels a little bit more like, and obviously it's part of the World Soul Saga as like the big thing they're doing differently now, is they went, how about we think? Which is really unfair, but you know what I mean. It's, how do we plan this out for a couple of periods of time, or how do we keep doing this like in the future? How do we build in for the long term?
Shit feels more natural.
Yeah, and I feel like that was very speculative with the Shadowlands stuff. That was very, we're building onto the cosmological side of things, but in a way that was extremely non-committal.
Yeah.
And in a way that by the end of it, we all came to the determination that this shit should have been just shot dead, and we leave it and go, well, that was kind of shit. See you later. Because there was a lot of I guess there's a lot of good stuff in there, but the whole wasn't good. So this time around, they're trying to be very, very, very bro talking like they actually have a plan at Blizzard. That's actually basically the thing. This time it feels like they do. As to whether they execute on that, that's a completely different story, because they could just, the Arathi threat could just show up and be realized at the end of this expansion, which, or towards the end of it, in the same way, now, I don't expect that, but in the same way that Dragonflight was like, we've got fucking Farak, and we've got Fearnal, I've got a Ridicron, we've got all this stuff, and it's really cool, and everything's excellent, and they'll just kind of go, and patch, bonk, dead, patch, bonk, dead, patch, bonk, dead, alright, now a Ridicron made it out of that.
Yeah. And
the story of Amirdrasil did obviously become kind of key, but in a way that was kind of, and that's done now, and that's sort of done now. Whereas this feels like at least they're trying to be a bit more, hey, here's the Arathi, here's some stuff. So you can think about them later if you want, but there is obviously the same chance they turn around and go, and it's patch 11.2, the Arathi are on your shores, fight them off. Very disappointing, that's the case. I don't think so, but...
Yeah, well, we'll see. There's a big difference, though, between a plan and a direction.
Yeah, I'm going to close that window.
Sometimes you do not... Well, you want a plan, but the thing is... this is definitely one of those sort of overused quote things. Plans are useless. Planning is essential, right? So the plan, it's more about the process and the thinking and you having a good direction. What you kind of need is a direction and then controlled flexibility. Because maybe if people love a character, there's something great example of that. People might look at Breaking Bad and just think, oh, genius, manna from heaven, the best. They planned to kill Jesse off, in the first season. He wasn't actually planned to be a major character. But Aaron Paul did a great job. It ended up going great. Jesse ends up being one of the, all-time great characters. So, the difference between plan and direction, and a good example of that is... Dawn Trail aside, Final Fantasy XIV, because a lot of people think that all of their stuff was meticulously planned out a long time ago. Wasn't. They've literally said it wasn't, but they would leave threads open for themselves, and the thing is, they just do a good job of bringing it all together. The problem with Blizzard, it's not that there was some fundamental massive difference in planning necessarily, though I think there was. It was the quality at which things were pulled together, because when you see that as a viewer, it looks like an amazing plan executed perfectly. Although from them as creatives, there will have been a plan, but that will need to be modified, updated, changed based on how things actually go, how things actually play, how it flows, whether people like characters or not, that sort of thing. So, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good for this era. Like they know, I think big picture, they know the big showdowns that they have. It's like they very clearly have milestones set out. Like there will be the Iridicron milestone, the Xalatath milestone, those sort of big beats that are almost guaranteed to happen. But then you do want a little bit of flexibility in how you sort of move through those. So, because the thing is, if your plan is just really rigid, well, then the problem is not everything goes to plan. Maybe you have to cut a storyline, cut a character, cut something. Maybe people don't like a thing that you thought they would like. So, yeah, that's the thing with plans. You want something to have the appearance of being an amazing plan. But that's rarely going to be because the plan was amazing. It's probably because the direction was right. And planning happened. And that's the difference. Planning, vital. Plans, not really that useful. But the point is, in doing planning and making a plan, you learn what you're working on more robustly. Great example of that. We made plans for our content releases across, last week, this week, upcoming little while. Have we hit everything? No. But the fact that we stopped and did that planning meant, with all of our different videos, we know which ones can be cut. We know which ones can be delayed. So even though we're not hitting our original plan, the results of our planning have meant that we can be flexible and make the right decisions more easily.
I have a very, very interesting analogy for this. I just came up with on the fly.
Let's go.
And it's not food for a change, right? It's how do I put this? You've got a pair of socks, right? And you look at your socks when they're on.
Where's this going?
And they look grand. They look sound.
Yeah.
Like they're the socks. Yeah, perfect put together bit of sock. What happens?
Oh, that's a perfect bit of sock there. Yeah.
What happens when you take off the sock and turn it inside out? All the seams are on the inside.
Oh yeah.
All the stitching. Yeah. So you actually. Yeah.
Holy shit! Yeah. This is genius.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. If you make something right in that sense, you make something good.
We're very carnal with our analogies.
Yeah, you have this,
food.
Yeah.
Feet.
Don't say feet. It was socks, right? It was going to be either socks or underwear, and I thought socks were the funnier one. Fuck me. Way to destroy what I was saying anyway.
I like the idea, though. I like the idea. You can only see the seams from the inside.
Yeah, but the whole thing is that the outside is the part that people see, and it's not covered in seams and bits stitched together.
I'm imagining some character in a TV show that's like definitely a villain. I'm imagining a villain that's like, what if Charlie Day was playing a psychopath serial killer, and you just find him like curled up in the corner, rocking back and forward, just saying, "You could only see the seams inside." Like whatever it was, that like soundbite is just like perfectly unhinged, but it also makes so much sense. So I kind of love it. Yeah.